Hey y'all, Fred here. Thanks so much for joining me. Today we are going to take a look at another one of the knives in my sentimental collection. So I've got a few of these that I'm going through here over the last video, maybe the next one or two, and this is one more of those. So if you haven't seen this before, this is a Spyderco Pochi. We're going to talk about where it came from. This is a replica version. Got it off of OK Knives. I'm going to read the description from Spyderco of this knife and kind of where it came from. So this is Japanese knife maker 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃, apologies if I'm not getting that right, 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗃𝗃 specializes in intricate handcrafted folding knives, many of which are inspired by the shapes of animals. Some of his most popular designs are dog-shaped knives in his Pochi series, which draws the name from the most common Japanese dog name, which is basically their equivalent of Spot. His first Spyderco collaboration faithfully translates this novel design into a unique production folder with a hollow ground 𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃 end blade, a bead-blasted titanium handle, a Reeve integral lock, and a blue anodized folding tail. So you can actually still buy these. The real versions are available on Amazon for a little over $200. I get this one on OK for $33. We're going to dive in, take a closer look at what makes this pretty cool and special to me. All right, before we get started, if you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button, please, before you get distracted and disappear from my video. If you're not already subscribed, we'd love to have you join our little band of renegades here on the YouTubes. Hit that notification bell, certainly helps us out. Don't forget our website, bladesonabudget.com, has all of the videos that we do here as well as links to these knives. Take a quick peek at the box that it came in. So this is the standard fare Chinese replica box. This one is for the 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃. So no idea. That's actually unique. I think I've seen this once before on a Maniago, Italy 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 knife. So that has nothing to do with this, but I guess it's different from what you normally get. Anyhow, there's no markings on either end of the box because I guess they couldn't find a Pochi sticker to stick on the back end of that thing. Let's do some size comps. You can obviously see this is not a big knife. However, it's really hard to get a sense of how big or not big this knife is compared to others. You have your PM2 we always take a look at, and of course the PM3. I'll do one more for the non-Spyderco people. We always do the Vision FG, and there is your standard size pyrite light. As you can see, this is a pretty small knife in comparison. It's pretty cool. I consider this to be more of a novelty or a gift item. And the reason I got this, why it's sentimental to me, is about 6 months ago, my wife and I got a dog. Now, we've been married for 30 years, so we've had many dogs and many cats over those many years. But it's been probably 4 or 5 years at least since we had a dog. And so she got a wild hair that she was going to go out and get us a new dog. And so she went to the local humane society, the animal shelter here, and came home with 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃. I'll put a picture up of 𝗥𝗲𝗃. The ironic thing about it is 𝗥𝗲𝗃 looks exactly like this knife, or maybe this knife looks exactly like 𝗥𝗲𝗃. Don't ask me why we named our dog after a stripper. That's a different story for another day. At any rate, she's a Chiweenie, so that's a half Chihuahua and half weenie dog, a dachshund. So she has this long body with little short stubby legs, a short little tail that sticks up just like that, and her snout looks a little bit like that too. So that's why this is kind of sentimental to me. I saw this and said, you know what, this is super cool. And kind of representative of, you know, I love my little dog 𝗥𝗲𝗃 now, and I got a knife that kind of memorializes that. So that's why this is in the sentimental department. Let's bring up some specs down the left-hand side of the screen, just so you can see how this compares. Mine, interestingly, and I guess it depends on how you measure it and what you're doing with the tail. Mine comes in at 4.5 inches. They say the original one's just under 4 inches total open length. And I'm measuring it in the shortest possible configuration. Even if you don't measure the tail, just from the back foot to the tip of the blade, it's still over 4 inches, over 4¼ inches. At any rate, I don't think anybody's going to be too worried about how close this matches the specs, right? The blade, 1.5 inches, but you have about 1.7 inches of cutting length because the blade curvature here is longer than the distance from the tip to the scales up here. That's the reason. Close length is where this comes in a little bit more than that, 2.8 inches, where the other real one is a little over 2.5 inches. Nice thin blade stock on here. Mine is thinner than the regular one. Handle thickness, mine comes in a little bit thinner as well. This is a satin finished blade. It says this is supposed to be hollow grind. We'll talk about that. I can't really get this to, it doesn't look hollow ground to me. If it is, it's really, really minor, like minor to the point where you can't hardly recognize it, or maybe just this replica version didn't bother with hollow grinding it. I don't know. At any rate, is real titanium scales. Have no idea what the steel is on this. The real one comes in S45VN. You can see that right there on the blade. 2.808 ounces, 2 ounces. It's nothing. It is a frame lock. And again, I paid $33. I did measure behind the edge because I always do that on these knives. It's not terrible. I mean, 24 thousandths. It certainly will cut. We'll take a look at that in a minute as well. Here's what I would love to hear. What do you guys think about knives like this? Is this something that should exist out there? Is this something cool? Have any of you actually purchased one of these? I'm just always curious to hear what you guys think. This is obviously not a real functional EDC kind of tool that you're going to want to carry every day. This is more of a novelty, but I think this, especially in this replica model, makes a fantastic gift item for a lot of reasons. So let me know down in the comments what you think about all that. All right, we'll take a little quick look at the hardware. This is a T8 pivot, T8 body, or sorry, T6 body, and T6 pocket clip screws. The pocket clip is an anodized titanium. I think that little paw cut out in there, that's pretty cool. It is incredibly stiff because it's so short, and it's actually relatively thick. The tip points up nicely enough on it, so it will clear pants, but man, it's just a super stiff clip. There are no hot spots with that clip, so I guess that's a good feature. There's no lanyard hole, and I thought about this. So let's talk about this for a second. Where would you put a lanyard hole on a knife such as this? Maybe somewhere in this area here. You know, that's typically where lanyard holes go, right? And I think somebody thought about that and said, I'm not sure I want to put a hole right there in the back end of this dog. That might just be a little bit too much. So you can make up your own jokes all you want there. I thought that was probably a good choice to leave out a lanyard hole on this one. The tail actually is really cool. This is an anodized titanium, and it hacks. I'll bring up a blown up picture here of the inside of this knife. So this tail has little studs. The scales are milled out with two little tracks on each side, so the tail goes all the way up to this high, although the original one seems to go even higher than this, but I don't want it any higher than that. And it stops it from going any lower than this, which is what prevents it from getting into the blade area. So well designed on that. But just the engineering that went into this to put internal milled tracks and little studs on all that, just for the tail section there, that's a pretty cool little thing, right? So it moves around accordingly. This is titanium body, as I mentioned. It does have these kind of interesting cutouts here on both sides of the knife. These are not sharp in any way. There's nothing, no sharp points anywhere. Very nicely knocked down and very smooth all the way around. Nothing's going to get you. The corner of that lock bar, maybe a little bit, but it's not bad at all. It's not a big deal. And again, you know, what are you doing with this knife anyhow? Anodized pivot collar, pretty good, but you can see the anodization on here, not quite perfect. There's a little spot right there that somehow didn't get anodized properly. Do I care about that? No, especially what I paid for this thing. All good. Frame lock has a very solid lockup on it. You know, you're not worried about blade wax on this kind of knife, right? I mean, what in the world would you be doing with this knife that you would have to be worried about blade wax on this thing? At any rate, for whatever it's worth, it is solid lockup, all right? The action is on a flipper tab, but if you've noticed, oh, that was so close, maybe it is breaking in. So it's going much farther now than it was before. If you throw it when you flip it, you can get it. It is on steel bearings. You may have seen that when I had my internal photos up. So it does have steel bearings up here in the for the pivot. Will not flip out unless you flip it out. Again, the scales also up front, you may have noticed, had that same internal milled track. There are two studs on either side of the blade that ride around inside that internal track. So internal stop pins on that. I usually, either I'll flip it part way out and then just roll it the rest of the way, or you can just slow roll the whole thing out from the beginning, right, with one hand. The blade, there's no mention anywhere on the website where I bought it of what kind of steel this is. This is clearly not an S45VN, right? It's supposed to be hollow ground, as I mentioned. I can't really tell that. Even with, usually you can get the light to bend around the blade. If it's hollow ground, the light reflections in the blade will bend differently. You'll be able to usually tell from that. I can't tell from anything. I put a ruler up against that edge, but it's just so short and small. It's almost impossible to tell. So if it is hollow ground, you won't know it. Clip point blade. There's no jimping anywhere on this knife. Probably not a really big deal for this thing. The branding is true to the original. It looks like there's a big giant tick on my dog's nose that I probably am going to have to take care of. S45VN there, Spyderco name there. There's branding all over this thing, right? Taichung and then Taiwan there. All of this is true to the original. And then you have the maker's mark up here for his name right there, Kazuyuki Sakurai. Really cool job. Factory sharpening was, great. It's not great. It's not terrible. Middle of the road. It will cut. I'm going to give it about an 8. It's not really clean cuts, but it does pretty good for what it is. A package opener all day long. No worries. You're going to open all your packages. You're going to grip it, with, I didn't even talk about the ergonomics. You basically have, this is not ergonomic. You got 2.5 fingers you can squeeze. If your fingers are fairly skinny like mine, you can probably get 3 in there. The tail moves because that would be uncomfortable. So when you've got that, the tail just folds right down. No problem there. If you wanted to hold it like this and cut something, you absolutely could. Probably most people are going to put their finger on the clip point and use that, in which case, you've got a very controllable knife, but this is, your package opener, right? You just slice in packages like that. You're usually just using it in a pinch grip. That's what I think most people would do. Nobody's going to get excited in particular about the ergonomics on this knife. That's not what this is. Let's talk about some negatives. You just have to, again, understand what this is and where it came from and how much you paid for it. It's got crappy steel bearings that don't really work very well. The action, as I mentioned, is getting better. Actually, it's getting a lot better. So maybe I just need to keep flipping it. I've seen other people who reviewed these that were able to get it to flip out pretty easily. Certainly, with a little bit of wrist action, it'll lock into place. And if that's what you want to do with it, great. No problems there, right? Not very well sharpened from the factory. Not particularly ergonomic or anything. But, with all of that being said, I love it. For all the reasons I've already stated. This is my little 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗃 knife that represents my puppy dog that I have and have come to love over the last 6 months. If you're a dog lover, you get it. They curl up in your lap and give you lots of love any time of the day. Always good. Otherwise, I think this is really well made. It's a well-designed knife. It's very cool for what it is. Here's where this thing lives in my mind. This is a fantastic gift for 2 situations, which covers most of us. One is if somebody is really into knives and they have a dog that they absolutely love, which, who owns a dog and they don't absolutely love it, a knife enthusiast and a dog lover, this is a fantastic gift for $33. It's a no-brainer. The other thing, though, is if people know that we're knife nuts, which if you're watching this video, you're a knife nut, congratulations, I could give this to a dog lover, a friend of mine who knows how much knives are important to me, and I'm a collector and I really enjoy them so much. Now what I've done is give my friend a very personal gift that has meaning to both me and to him. This is kind of that shared experience or what you get for the person who has everything and you can't think of a great idea. Fantastic gift item right there, right? All right, so I'm not really recommending that anybody run out and buy these. For $33, it's hard to go wrong. I've already given you the goods, the good and the bad about this thing. It is what it is, a fantastic gift, and for me, a great little memento part of my collection. So hit me up in the comments. What do you think? Do you have one of these? Do you think this is useful or just, a big fail and this should have never been produced? I'm always curious to hear what you guys think about that. Also, don't forget, website has all of the videos and links to all the knives, pretty much all of them that we show on this channel. Don't forget to throw me a thumbs up on your way out the door. Thank you so much for everything you do. If you're not already a subscriber, we'd love to have you subscribe. Otherwise, y'all have a great day, and I will see you soon. Take care.